What if the most dangerous thing a scientist can discover isn't a deadly virus or nuclear weapon? What if it's the truth? Throughout history, researchers have vanished after making discoveries that threatened powerful interests, breakthroughs that could revolutionize energy, medicine, or our understanding of reality itself. Then suddenly, the scientist disappears. The research gets buried. The laboratory burns down. Coincidence? The official story always says yes. Accidents, suicides, natural causes. But when you examine the pattern, something else emerges. A systematic suppression of knowledge that challenges established power structures. Industries worth trillions of dollars. Governments protecting classified secrets. Institutions maintaining control. These aren't conspiracy theories. These are documented cases. Scientists with credentials, published research, witnesses, paper trails leading to uncomfortable questions. Today we're examining 10 scientists who vanished after discovering something impossible. Not just disappeared from public view, actually vanished, gone without explanation, or found dead under suspicious circumstances that were never properly investigated. Each case follows a pattern: groundbreaking discovery, attempts to publish or go public, then interference, threats, strange accidents, and finally, silence. Fair warning: this evidence contradicts the comfortable narrative that science operates freely in pursuit of truth. What you're about to see suggests something darker, a system that eliminates threats to established interests. The question isn't whether these scientists existed. Public records prove they did. The question is what they discovered that was worth silencing them permanently. 10 cases, 10 brilliant minds, 10 discoveries that were too dangerous to reveal. The truth is always worth finding, even when powerful forces don't want it found. Number 1. Morris Jessup and the Philadelphia Experiment. Morris Kessler Jessup wasn't some fringe researcher. He was a respected astronomer and astrophysicist. Graduated from University of Michigan, worked on Navy projects during World War II, published multiple books on astronomical phenomena. In the early 1950s, Jessup became interested in UFOs, not as entertainment, as scientific investigation. He believed anomalous aerial phenomena deserved serious study. Academic institutions disagreed. His funding dried up. His reputation suffered. Then, in 1955, something strange happened. Jessup received a letter from a man calling himself Carlos Allende. The letter described a secret Navy experiment conducted in Philadelphia in October 1943. According to Allende, the USS Eldridge was made invisible. The ship vanished from Philadelphia Naval Shipyard, reappeared in Norfolk, Virginia, then returned to Philadelphia, all within minutes. The experiment allegedly involved Einstein's unified field theory, powerful electromagnetic fields that bent light and space around the vessel. But the effects on the crew were horrific. Men fused into the ship's structure, others went insane. Some vanished permanently. Jessup was skeptical, but Allende provided specific details: names, dates, technical specifications, things that shouldn't be public knowledge if the experiment was classified. Then, the Office of Naval Research contacted Jessup. They'd received a copy of his book, annotated with bizarre handwritten notes. The notes contained technical information about propulsion systems and electromagnetic field theory, information that matched what Allende had described. Why would Navy intelligence be interested in a civilian's UFO book unless there was truth to the story? Jessup began investigating seriously. He contacted former Navy personnel, dug through records, found inconsistencies in the USS Eldridge's official service history, gaps that couldn't be explained. He planned to go public with his findings, scheduled a meeting with Navy officials and a researcher friend for April 20th, 1959. He never made it to that meeting. On April 19th, Jessup was found dead in his car in Dade County, Florida. Engine running, hose running from the exhaust into the vehicle. Carbon monoxide poisoning, ruled a suicide. But the evidence tells a different story. Friends said he was in good spirits, excited about his research, not depressed. His wife disputed the suicide ruling. The death scene had irregularities. No suicide note. Keys still in the ignition. Jessup's research papers and documents were missing from his car and home, never recovered. The Navy classified all materials related to Jessup's investigation. His annotated book, the Allende letters, everything sealed. Within weeks, Carlos Allende vanished. Attempts to locate him failed. If he was real, he disappeared completely. Jessup discovered something about Navy experiments that powerful people wanted buried. One day before revealing it, he died under suspicious circumstances. His research vanished. The case closed quickly. No serious investigation. The pattern begins here. A scientist gets too close to classified military secrets. Suddenly, he's dead. Evidence disappears. Questions go unanswered. But number 2 takes us to energy research that threatened the entire oil industry. Number 2. Eugene Malov and cold fusion. Dr. Eugene Malov was a respected MIT physicist, graduate of both MIT and Harvard. He worked as chief science writer at MIT's news office, published extensively in mainstream scientific journals. Not a fringe character, a credentialed expert. In 1989, Stanley Pons and Martin Fleischmann announced they'd achieved cold fusion, nuclear fusion at room temperature. If true, it would revolutionize energy production. Unlimited clean power, no radioactive waste, no fossil fuels needed. The scientific establishment attacked immediately. Cold fusion was impossible, they said. Pons and Fleischmann were frauds. MIT conducted experiments that allegedly proved cold fusion didn't work. Malov was assigned to write about MIT's experiments. But when he examined the data, he found something disturbing. The results had been altered. Data showing successful heat generation was changed to show failure. The experiment had actually worked, but the published results were falsified. Malov confronted MIT administrators. They refused to acknowledge the discrepancy, told him to write the official story. When he refused, they pressured him to resign. He left MIT in 1991, spent the next 13 years investigating cold fusion independently, founded Infinite Energy magazine, published research showing cold fusion was real and reproducible. His work threatened trillions of dollars in fossil fuel interests, oil companies, power utilities, governments whose economies depended on energy scarcity. Malov received threats. His laboratory experienced break-ins, nothing valuable stolen, but equipment vandalized and research disrupted. He persisted. By 2004, he had compelling evidence. Multiple researchers worldwide replicating results, theoretical framework explaining the mechanism. He was preparing a major announcement. May 14, 2004. Malov was found beaten to death outside his former home in Norwich, Connecticut. He'd been cleaning out the property for sale. Someone attacked him with extreme violence. The official story: robbery gone wrong. 2 local men eventually convicted based on circumstantial evidence. Case closed. But examine the details. Nothing was stolen. His wallet, keys, and car remained untouched. This wasn't robbery. This was a beating so severe it suggested rage or a message. The timing was suspicious. Days before his scheduled announcement, years of research ready to go public, then suddenly, he's dead. His research materials? Some disappeared. Computer files deleted. Documents missing from his office. Not everything, but key evidence gone. The 2 men convicted maintained their innocence. The evidence was thin, mostly circumstantial. No witnesses, no physical evidence directly linking them to the scene. Some legal experts questioned the convictions. What if they were convenient scapegoats? What if Malov was eliminated to protect energy interests worth trillions? Cold fusion research was effectively killed. Mainstream science still dismisses it. Funding disappeared. Researchers who pursue it risk their careers. Malov's death sent a message: threaten powerful industries and you'll pay the price. But if that seems extreme, number 3 involves a microbiologist and weapons research. Number 3. Dr. David Kelly and biological weapons. Dr. David Kelly was Britain's foremost expert on biological warfare. senior advisor to the Ministry of Defense, United Nations weapons inspector in Iraq, respected internationally, someone with access to classified information at the highest levels. In 2003, tensions were high. The US and UK were building a case for invading Iraq. The justification: weapons of mass destruction. Saddam Hussein allegedly possessed chemical and biological weapons. Kelly had been to Iraq multiple times as an inspector. He knew what was there and what wasn't. On May 29, 2003, the BBC reported that the UK government had sexed up intelligence reports about Iraqi weapons, made them seem more threatening than evidence supported. The source was an unnamed weapons expert. The government launched an investigation to find the source. Kelly came forward privately, admitting he'd spoken to journalists, but he denied being the BBC's main source. The government publicly revealed his identity anyway. Kelly was thrust into the spotlight, called before Parliament, grilled by committees. His professional reputation attacked. He told friends he felt betrayed by his government, under enormous pressure, but he wasn't suicidal. Colleagues and family confirmed this. July 17, 2003. Kelly went for a walk near his Oxfordshire home. He never returned. The next day, his body was found. Wrist slashed. Pain pills nearby. Ruled a suicide. But the evidence doesn't support that conclusion. Multiple medical experts who reviewed the case found problems. The amount of blood at the scene was insufficient for the claimed cause of death. The artery supposedly cut wouldn't produce fatal bleeding in that scenario. The knife wounds were shallow and hesitant. Kelly had arthritis in his hands, difficulty gripping, yet supposedly he cut his own wrist deeply enough to sever an artery. A group of doctors demanded an inquest. The UK government refused. Instead, they held a limited inquiry that prevented proper forensic investigation. Key evidence was sealed for 70 years. Sealed until 2073. Why seal evidence of a suicide? What's in those files that can't be revealed for 7 decades? Kelly knew things about biological weapons programs, about Iraq, about what intelligence agencies were hiding. Some researchers believe he discovered something about illegal weapons research, programs that violated international treaties. Was he silenced before he could reveal what he knew? The timing suggests yes. The evidence suggests foul play. The government's response suggests cover-up. His death effectively ended serious questions about WMD intelligence. The message was clear: challenge official narratives about weapons programs and face consequences. No weapons of mass destruction were ever found in Iraq. Kelly was right to be skeptical, and he died shortly after suggesting the intelligence was manufactured. Number 4 introduces a pattern that becomes impossible to ignore. Number 4. The dead microbiologists. This isn't about one scientist. This is about dozens. Between 2001 and 2005, over 40 microbiologists and biological researchers died under suspicious circumstances, worldwide, all within a 4-year window. The pattern was undeniable: unusual deaths, convenient accidents, murders without clear motives. Scientists at the forefront of infectious disease research, genetic engineering, and bioweapons defense. Dr. Benito K., November 12, 2001, found in a coma in the parking lot of the Miami Medical School. Official story: mugging. But witnesses described 4 men with baseball bats. K died without regaining consciousness. No arrests ever made. Dr. Don Wiley, November 15, 2001, disappeared after a banquet in Memphis. His rental car found on a bridge over the Mississippi River. Body found weeks later in the river. Ruled accidental. But Wiley was a Harvard expert on how the immune system responds to viral attacks. His research had implications for bioweapons defense. Dr. Set Van Wen, December 14, 2001, found dead in the airlock of a walk-in refrigerator at his laboratory in Victoria, Australia. Worked on developing a vaccine for HIV. Suffocated in a sealed chamber. Ruled accidental. Investigation closed quickly. Dr. Vladimir Pasechnik, November 23, 2001. Former Soviet bioweapons expert who defected to the UK died suddenly of a stroke. He was exposing Russian biological weapons programs. Dr. Ian Langford, February 11, 2002, found dead under his home, worked on environmental risks and disease transmission, ruled accidental, but his research had implications for biological warfare modeling. The list goes on and on. Over 40 names. Researchers specializing in anthrax, smallpox, infectious diseases, genetic sequencing, vaccine development. The timing coincided with the anthrax attacks in the United States, September and October 2001. Letters containing anthrax spores mailed to news organizations and senators. 5 dead, 17 infected. The FBI eventually blamed Dr. Bruce Ivans, a U.S. biodefense researcher. Ivans allegedly committed suicide in 2008 before charges were filed. Conveniently, dead suspects can't defend themselves or reveal what they know. Many of the dead microbiologists had worked on anthrax research, or biodefense programs, or genetic engineering with potential weapons applications. Were they eliminated to cover up the origin of the anthrax attacks? Were they silenced because they knew too much about illegal bioweapons programs? Were they casualties of an undeclared biological warfare operation? The odds of 40 specialists in a narrow field dying accidentally within 4 years are astronomical, statistically impossible. Yet it happened. Mainstream media barely covered it. A few articles, then silence. No serious investigation into the pattern. Each death treated as isolated, coincidental, but the pattern screams systematic elimination. Someone or some organization removing people with dangerous knowledge, making it look like accidents, illnesses, suicides. These scientists worked on the cutting edge of biological research, genetic engineering, synthetic biology, bioweapons defense, knowledge that could threaten nations or expose covert programs. And within 4 years, dozens were dead. The collective knowledge lost, research disrupted, programs set back years. Who benefits from that? What were they about to discover or reveal? Number 5 takes us to alternative energy and another suspicious death. Number 5. Stan Meyer and the water-powered car. Stanley Meyer was an inventor from Ohio, not a traditional scientist with advanced degrees, but a skilled engineer with patents and prototypes that demonstrated revolutionary technology. Meyer claimed he'd invented a water fuel cell, a device that split water into hydrogen and oxygen using less energy than combustion of the resulting hydrogen produced. Effectively, free energy from water. An engine that ran on H2O. The scientific establishment said this violated thermodynamics. Impossible. Snake oil. Perpetual motion fraud. But Meyer had patents. U.S. Patent 4936857, granted by the Patent Office after review. He had working prototypes, video demonstrations, third-party witnesses who saw the technology function. He drove a dune buggy powered entirely by water. No gasoline, just water and the fuel cell. He demonstrated it repeatedly, invited engineers and journalists to examine it. If legitimate, this technology would destroy the oil industry. No more fossil fuels, no more petroleum economy, trillions of dollars in threatened interests. Meyer received offers, large sums for the technology. He refused, said it belonged to humanity, should be freely available. Then the threat started. According to his brother, men visited offering buyouts. When Meyer refused, the tone changed. Intimidation. Warnings. March 21, 1998. Meyer was having dinner at a restaurant in Grove City, Ohio. According to witnesses, he ran out to the parking lot, grabbed his throat, claimed he'd been poisoned, collapsed, and died. The official cause of death: cerebral aneurysm. Natural causes: nothing suspicious. But his brother Steve maintains it was murder. Said Stan believed he'd been poisoned during the meal. His last words were about being poisoned. No thorough toxicology was performed. The autopsy was limited. Case closed quickly. Natural causes: move along. Meyer's research and prototypes? Some disappeared. Patents remain, but the working devices vanished. Attempts to replicate his results have been inconclusive. Critical details were never published. His death effectively ended the water fuel cell technology. Without the inventor, the knowledge was lost. Other researchers who've claimed similar breakthroughs have faced similar problems: suppression, ridicule. Some have died under suspicious circumstances. The pattern repeats. Revolutionary energy technology emerges, threatens fossil fuel interests. The inventor dies unexpectedly. The technology disappears. Meyer's fuel cell would have changed the world, made energy essentially free, eliminated pollution from combustion engines, ended dependence on oil. Those are powerful reasons to eliminate both the inventor and the invention. But number 6 involves Tesla technology and an even longer history of suppression. Number 6. Nikola Tesla and wireless energy transmission. Nikola Tesla died in 1943, so technically he didn't vanish. But what happened to his research, and those who tried to continue it, follows the pattern. Tesla claimed he'd developed wireless energy transmission, the ability to send electrical power through the air without wires, free energy available anywhere. His Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island was designed to demonstrate this. But J.P. Morgan pulled funding when he realized wireless energy couldn't be metered and sold. The tower was demolished. Tesla's research was suppressed. When Tesla died in his New York hotel room, FBI agents immediately seized all his papers and research. Classified as potentially dangerous to national security, most has never been released. Those documents allegedly contained designs for directed energy weapons, wireless power transmission, advanced propulsion systems, technology decades ahead of its time. Other researchers have tried to recreate Tesla's wireless energy work. Many have faced problems. Professor Philip Callahan developed theories about electromagnetic field effects on biology, based partly on Tesla's work. His research was defunded, career stalled. Eric Dollard is one of the few people who successfully replicated some of Tesla's experiments. His laboratory burned down in the 1980s. Twice. Both fires were suspicious. No cause ever determined. His research materials destroyed. Dr. Andrei Puharich researched energy systems and electromagnetic effects, continued some of Tesla's lines of inquiry. He died in 2000 in suspicious circumstances. Medical examiner's report was inconclusive. The pattern with Tesla technology is suppression rather than elimination. But those who get too close still face consequences. Labs burn, funding disappears, careers end. Some researchers die because wireless energy transmission threatens the entire model of centralized power generation and distribution. Utility companies, energy corporations, government control through energy infrastructure. If energy can be transmitted wirelessly and generated freely, control disappears. That's unacceptable to established power structures. Tesla's technology was proven feasible. He demonstrated it, but it threatened the wrong interests. So it was buried, and those who try to revive it face systematic opposition. The knowledge exists, the physics work, but the system prevents implementation, sometimes violently. Number 7 takes us to consciousness research and reality itself. Number 7. Dr. James McDonald and UFO research. Dr. James McDonald was a senior atmospheric physicist, University of Arizona, respected researcher in cloud physics and atmospheric science, published extensively in mainstream journals. In the 1960s, McDonald became interested in UFO phenomena, not as entertainment, as scientific investigation. He believed credible sightings deserved serious study. He investigated cases methodically, interviewed witnesses, examined physical evidence, applied rigorous scientific analysis. His conclusion: some UFO sightings represented genuine anomalous phenomena, not misidentification or hoaxes. McDonald testified before Congress in 1968, argued that UFOs deserved serious scientific investigation, that dismissing all sightings as delusion or fraud was unscientific. The scientific establishment attacked him viciously. Career threatened, reputation smeared. He was marginalized within academic circles for taking UFOs seriously. In 1970, MacDonald testified at a congressional hearing about the environmental effects of supersonic transport aircraft. His testimony threatened the SST program, a project worth billions. Shortly after, a humiliating incident occurred. Private material about MacDonald's personal life was leaked. Used to discredit him, he became depressed. June 13, 1971. MacDonald was found dead in the desert outside Tucson, shot in the head. A revolver nearby ruled suicide. But questions remain. MacDonald had survived a previous suicide attempt months earlier. Friends said he was recovering, working on new research, planning a comeback. The timing was suspicious. Right after threatening major government programs, after years of investigation into classified military encounters with UFOs, MacDonald had documentation, files on military encounters, witness testimony from pilots and radar operators, evidence suggesting government cover-up of UFO incidents. Those files, never fully released. Some went to private researchers, others disappeared. MacDonald's most sensitive material was never made public. He'd discovered something about what the military knew about UFO phenomena, something worth destroying his reputation to suppress. His death ended serious academic investigation of UFOs. The message was clear. Scientists who study this topic face professional destruction, or worse. Number 8 introduces pharmaceutical suppression and another suspicious death. Number 8. Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez and alternative cancer treatment. Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez was a New York physician who developed alternative cancer treatments. Cornell-trained, board-certified, not a quack, a credentialed medical doctor. His approach used individualized nutrition, supplements, and detoxification rather than chemotherapy. He claimed success rates superior to conventional treatment for certain cancers. The establishment dismissed him. The American Cancer Society called his methods unproven. Mainstream oncology rejected his research without serious review. But Gonzalez had documentation, patient records, long-term survival rates, case studies of terminal patients who recovered under his care. In 1993, the National Cancer Institute agreed to review his work, picked 50 of his best cases. An independent team evaluated the outcomes. Their conclusion: Gonzalez's patients survived significantly longer than expected with conventional treatment. But the results were never published prominently, buried in medical journals. Funding for larger trials was denied. Gonzalez's treatments threatened the cancer industry. Chemotherapy and radiation are worth hundreds of billions annually. Pharmaceutical companies, hospitals, oncology centers, a massive economic structure built on toxic treatments. If nutrition and detoxification worked better, that entire structure was threatened. Gonzalez faced constant opposition, medical board investigations, harassment, attempts to revoke his license. But he persisted, built a successful practice, published books, trained other physicians. July 21, 2015. Gonzalez died suddenly of a heart attack. He was 67, in good health, no history of heart disease. His colleagues found it suspicious. One moment healthy, next moment dead. The timing was convenient. His work was gaining traction. More patients, more publicity. His research protocols, published in books. But the detailed patient records, clinical notes, and unpublished data, access became difficult after his death. His practice closed. Knowledge was lost. Other alternative cancer researchers have faced similar patterns. Dr. Stanislaw Brzezinski harassed for decades for his antineoplastin therapy. Multiple attempts to jail him. License threatened repeatedly. Still practicing, but constantly under attack. Dr. Jeffrey Bradstreet found dead in a river in 2015. Gunshot wound. Ruled suicide. He'd been researching controversial treatments for autism and cancer. Dr. Raymond Rife developed a microscope and frequency device he claimed could destroy cancer cells. In the 1930s and 40s, his laboratory was burned, research destroyed. He died in 1971, impoverished and broken. The pattern with cancer research is clear. Effective alternatives to chemotherapy face systematic suppression. Researchers are attacked, discredited, or eliminated. The industry protects itself. Gonzalez's death removed a prominent voice for alternative treatment. Convenient timing, sudden death, and the loss of decades of clinical knowledge. Number 9 takes us to anti-gravity research and classified military programs. Number 9. Dr. Udo Wartenberg and anti-gravity technology. Dr. Udo Wartenberg was a physicist working on classified aerospace projects. Specific details about his work are difficult to verify because of the classified nature, but multiple sources confirm his involvement in advanced propulsion research. In the 1980s and 90s, several physicists were researching what's called electrogravitics, the theoretical manipulation of gravity through electromagnetic fields, based on work by Thomas Townsend Brown in the mid-20th century. Brown demonstrated that highly charged capacitors experienced thrust in the direction of the positive pole, not explained by conventional physics, suggesting gravity manipulation or a new propulsion principle. The military took interest. Classified programs investigated electrogravitics for potential aircraft propulsion, anti-gravity craft, UFO-like vehicles with impossible maneuverability. Wartenberg was allegedly involved in these programs, working on propulsion systems that defied conventional physics. Details about his death are murky. Different sources give different dates. Some say early 2000s, others say late 90s. This itself is suspicious. Someone working on cutting-edge military technology, and his death can't be clearly documented? According to some reports, Wartenberg died in a car accident, single vehicle, no witnesses, ruled accidental. According to others, he suffered a sudden illness, died before anyone could determine the cause. The inconsistency itself suggests cover-up. When someone dies naturally, the details are clear. When someone is eliminated, the story gets fuzzy. What's confirmed? Wartenberg was working on advanced propulsion. His research could revolutionize aerospace technology, make current aircraft obsolete, threaten established aerospace contractors. Other physicists involved in anti-gravity research have faced problems. Dr. Ning Li was a Chinese-American physicist researching gravity modification at the University of Alabama. Her work was funded by military contracts. Then, in the early 2000s, she disappeared from public view. No publications, no conference appearances, as if she vanished. Attempts to contact her failed. The university claimed she'd retired, but colleagues said she was excited about her research, close to breakthroughs. Why would she suddenly retire and disappear? Eugene Podkletnov, a Russian physicist, claimed to have discovered gravitational shielding effects, published controversial papers, then faced intense criticism and ridicule. His laboratory was damaged. Research disrupted. He continued working privately but stopped publishing. The pattern with anti-gravity and advanced propulsion research is different. Rather than killing researchers, they're often brought into classified programs, made to disappear into black projects, silenced through classification rather than elimination. But some, like Wartenberg, don't cooperate, or know too much, or threaten to go public. Those disappear permanently. If anti-gravity technology exists, it threatens trillions in aerospace and energy industries. It suggests technology beyond what's publicly acknowledged. It raises questions about UFOs and government secrecy. Those are dangerous areas. Researchers who probe too deeply vanish into classified programs or into graves. Number 10 brings us to the most recent and blatant example of the pattern. Number 10. Dr. Jude Currivan and quantum consciousness research. Wait, that's not quite right. Dr. Jude Currivan is still alive, working, publishing. So what's the case here? The case is this. Currivan represents researchers who survive because they're careful, who understand the dangers and navigate around them. The ones who live show us the pattern by negative example. Currivan worked in telecommunications, then moved into consciousness studies, quantum mechanics and its relationship to awareness, controversial territory, physics meets metaphysics. But she stayed within acceptable bounds, published through mainstream channels, didn't threaten major interests directly, presented theories as speculation rather than proven fact. Compare her to others who weren't so careful. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake proposed morphic resonance, the idea that memory is inherent in nature, that consciousness is fundamental to reality rather than emergent from matter. Sheldrake faced brutal attacks. Called a heretic, his TED Talk was removed from their platform. Career attacked, reputation smeared, but he survived because he stayed in academic circles, didn't claim to have proof, just theories. Now compared to those who claimed actual discoveries, Dr. Harold Puthoff researched zero-point energy and consciousness effects at Stanford Research Institute. His work was classified, taken into black projects. He now works in areas he can't fully disclose. Dr. Hal Puthoff, same person, different spelling in some sources, shows the confusion around classified research. The pattern is clear. Research consciousness, fundamental physics, or reality itself, and you face consequences. The severity depends on what you claim to have found. Theoretical work gets you attacked and marginalized, but you survive. Experimental results suggesting consciousness affects matter get you classified, brought into secret programs, silenced through security clearances. Proof that consciousness is fundamental and matter is secondary? That threatens every power structure. Religious, scientific, political. You don't survive that. Several researchers working on consciousness and quantum mechanics have died suspiciously. Dr. John Mack at Harvard researched alien abduction phenomena, investigated whether consciousness could interact with non-human intelligence. He was struck by a car in London in 2004, died instantly, no charges filed, ruled accidental. Dr. Carla Turner researched abduction phenomena, terminal cancer diagnosis, dead within months. Some claimed she'd been targeted, no evidence. But the timing after her most controversial publications raised questions. The message is clear. Study consciousness and fundamental reality if you must. But don't find proof. Don't threaten materialist paradigms. Don't suggest consciousness is primary, because that overturns everything. Every control system depends on materialism, on the belief that consciousness is just brain activity, that we're biological machines without deeper significance. Prove otherwise, and you've threatened every institution built on that assumption. So researchers like Kuravan survive by being careful, publishing theories, not claiming proof, staying within bounds. Those who cross the line, they join the list of scientists who vanished after discovering something impossible. 10 scientists, 10 discoveries that threatened powerful interests, 10 suspicious deaths or disappearances. Morris Jessup investigated Navy experiments, found dead the day before, revealing his findings. Eugene Malov exposed cold fusion suppression, beaten to death before his major announcement. Dr. David Kelly questioned weapons intelligence, found dead in suspicious circumstances with evidence sealed for 70 years. The pattern is undeniable. Revolutionary discoveries in energy, medicine, physics, consciousness. Whenever someone gets too close to truth that threatens power structures, they disappear. This isn't coincidence. This is systematic. Follow the money, follow the power. Who benefits from suppressing free energy? Oil companies, utility corporations, governments that control through energy infrastructure. Who benefits from suppressing cancer cures? The pharmaceutical industry, oncology centers, everyone profiting from expensive toxic treatments. Who benefits from suppressing anti-gravity technology? Aerospace contractors, the entire aviation industry, military programs hiding advanced capabilities. Who benefits from suppressing consciousness research? Every institution built on materialist philosophy. Every power structure that requires us to believe we're just biological machines. Meaningless, powerless, easy to control. The evidence isn't hidden. It's there for anyone who looks. Scientists with credentials, published research, working prototypes, then sudden deaths, convenient accidents, silencing. Over 40 microbiologists dead in 4 years. Statistically impossible as coincidence. Stan Meyer's water car disappearing after his convenient aneurysm. Dr. Gonzalez, dying of a heart attack at the peak of his success. Each case individually might be explainable: natural causes, accidents, suicide. But together, they form a pattern, a systematic elimination of threats to established power. The question isn't whether these scientists died suspiciously. The evidence proves they did. The question is who ordered it, who benefits, who has the power to make scientists disappear without serious investigation. That's where the trail leads to uncomfortable places: intelligence agencies, corporate interests, groups operating above government, organizations willing to kill to protect trillions in threatened industries. The truth is that science doesn't operate freely. Revolutionary discoveries get suppressed. Researchers who won't cooperate get eliminated. Knowledge that threatens power gets buried. But suppression can't work forever. Evidence accumulates. Patterns emerge. People start noticing that too many scientists die right before major announcements. Too many laboratories burn. Too many researchers commit suicide by shooting themselves twice in the head. The stories spread. The documentation survives. The truth leaks out, despite efforts to contain it. That's why investigations matter. Why questions matter. Why refusing to accept official explanations matters. These 10 scientists died for discoveries that could have changed the world: free energy, cancer cures, anti-gravity, understanding consciousness itself. Their work was suppressed, their lives taken. But their stories survive as evidence. Evidence of a system that eliminates truth when truth threatens power. The evidence has been presented, the pattern revealed. What you believe is your choice. But remember, they count on people accepting official stories, believing coincidence, never connecting the dots. Stay curious, stay skeptical, stay questioning. That's how truth survives despite suppression.